I worked into a publishing company about 15 years ago. I was going to be there for about 3 months. Let me see how I get on. And 15 years later, I was still there.
Wow.
6-7 months later, I was promoted to a senior administrator. I'm like, okay, I like the sound of that.
This is working.
Senior administrator. And a few months later, the office manager at the time said, oh, I'm pregnant and I'm going to be going on maternity leave. I'm like, okay, so we're going to start recruiting for an office manager.
Right.
And she said, no. I'm like, so what are we going to do? I'm looking at her. You? I'm like, me? Office manager?
Oh.
What does that mean?
Hi everyone and welcome to the Career Chat Show with me, Yanmo. On today's show, I am excited. I'm always excited to actually have all of my guests because all of them are very, very special. But today I have a very special one and I have Emily here. Emily is an amazing individual. She's been my friend for many years. I've known her. But more importantly, she has just continued to go forward in her career in ways that many of us have not been able to do. So I want you to welcome Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi, I'm
good to
so
have you
excited
here.
to be here.
Honestly,
thank you so much
thank
for having me.
No, thank you because
awesome.
no, thank you. There are a million and one things that you could be doing today, but you chose to come be on the Career Chat Show.
Yes, I had to because when I had career mentoring, I'm like, yes, I'm going to do that because it's very close to my heart.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Now, so let's just jump into it because we don't have a lot of time and I want us to cover so many things. In your career, have you found, okay, when you were starting off your career, did you even know what the word mentor meant?
I didn't have a clue. I worked into a publishing company about 15 years ago. I was going to be there for about 3 months. Let me see how I get on. And 15 years later, I was still there.
Wow.
I kind of clicked with the office manager. You know, when you meet someone, you're like, oh, I like you.
Yes.
And they're like, I like you too. And I got on so well with the office manager, the administrators, the salespeople, the cleaner, because I'm so personable.
Yes, you are. That's
and
very true.
I just wanted to experience what it's like to work in the publishing world.
Right.
6-7 months later, I was promoted to a senior administrator. I'm like, okay, I like the sound of that.
This is working.
Senior administrator. And a few months later, the office manager at the time said, oh, I'm pregnant and I'm going to be going on maternity leave. I'm like, okay, so we're going to start recruiting for an office manager.
Right.
And she said, no. I'm like, so what are we going to do? I'm looking at her. You? I'm like, me? Office manager?
Oh.
What does that mean? You know?
Oh.
It was really exciting because at the time the CEO very, very, very keen on career development.
Right.
And because I was curious as well. I wanted to know the what, the why, the how in the publishing world.
The curiosity factor.
Very much so.
Wow.
I'm somebody that absorbs knowledge. I want to find out about everything and ask questions.
Yes.
So I kept asking questions and they had a disciplinary once and we sat down, I was taking notes. So at the end of that disciplinary, I said to the office manager, I said, what's a disciplinary? What was that? So she explained to me and she said HR. I'm like, what's HR?
Wow.
And I went online, HR, human resources. So I read about human resources.
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, I like that. That's me. I like people. I like helping and supporting people.
Yeah.
So I spoke to the office manager at the time before she went on maternity leave. And I said, I want to do some HR. She said, yeah, why not? So, yeah, you can.
Wow.
I was like, okay. So that's how my HR career started.
And
I just fell into HR. When I was at uni, I studied food science with marketing.
Because what has food science got to do with HR?
And I just fell in love with it. I enjoy just helping and curious. Employment law, what's that? What do you mean that if I do this is going to happen? So I was you have to be curious.
So would you say that the fact that you worked in that particular organization, they were forward thinking with career development, would you say that actually helped you.
Yes, it did.
Mm.
Definitely, without doubt. Because, as I said, I was very curious. I
Yeah.
was asking questions,
Yeah.
and I could hear the salespeople selling on the phone, you know, cussing, and they'll put their phone on mute and cuss the customer, and then they'll come back on. Oh, as I was saying, Mr. Jones, yeah, you can have a double pay spread for like £5,000. And Mr. Jones said yes. And
And
I
I'm
was
like, you've just
like,
been cursed.
I
I
know,
just
right?
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
right.
Yeah.
And I said to the sales director at the time, I said, I want to know, what
What does
is
that?
that? What do
Yeah.
you guys
Wow.
do? How can you call someone on the phone and then all of a sudden they're giving you £10,000? She said,
Wow.
Emily, sit down. Let me tell you.
Hmm.
And because I was, as I said, curious, I wanted
Yes.
to know the what,
And
the
personable,
how,
personable
yeah,
as well,
and the
right?
why. I just wanted to know. And that's how I kind of, understood what selling is: negotiation,
Yes. Negotiation.
persuasion, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I like the sound of this.
Hmm.
So I tried it once and I got £5,000. Remember, I work in HR, right? I was like, oh, wow. Okay,
This
let me
works.
try again.
This works. And I'm sure you didn't get £5,000 the next time.
I got £10,000.
Wow.
And the director at the time said, right, Emily, yeah, I know you like this, but we want you to do HR.
HR is more suited to you.
Right. So it was nice.
Yes.
Tell you another story. I love telling stories. Um, we lost a contract
Hmm. In the same
for
company.
in the same
Yeah.
company for I think it was Bounty.
Right.
At the time, when you have a baby, they give you the Bounty pack.
Yes.
So we did magazines for them.
Yes.
So we lost the contract and we got the contract back. So there was no sales manager.
Right.
And the director said, Emily, I know you've done a bit of sales. I know you're doing HR, but can you
Can
just
you
kind of
step in?
step in?
Yeah.
I'm like, me? And because I could do the recruitment side, it just made sense. So I recruited all the salespeople
Wow.
and I was like, oh, I really like this. Until they got the sales manager, I was
You were the one
actually
filling in.
filling in for
So,
them.
so would you say that all these people, like the office manager that was going on maternity and the sales director that said, you can come and do this, would you actually say that they were mentors of sorts without you realizing that they were mentors?
Without doubt.
High five.
And because I was curious, I was asking questions. So they were telling me what, how.
Yes. Yes.
And I mean, the CEO at the time, I went to him and said, right, okay, now that, she's leaving, I'm going to step in. However, if you want me to do a really good job, right, I need to go on a course.
Hmm.
And he said, yeah, fine. How much is it? And I said, 10,000. I said, Emily, £10,000. Why don't you find something about £2,000? And maybe, as time goes by,
Which makes sense.
I
Yes.
can do the
So,
ten
but
thousand
it
pounds
wasn't
one.
a no.
It
It
wasn't a
was
no,
right. Yeah.
because one thing I keep saying to anyone I come across, you just need to do the job and do a good job.
Do a good job.
Because once you do that, you will be recognized.
I love that.
And I cannot emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
I did not get here because I'm a woman.
No.
I did not get here because of the color of my skin. I got here because of my knowledge.
Yeah.
And
You're
knowing
diligent.
and
You put in
doing.
you put in the work.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I remember listening to Barack Obama, one of his very famous quotes. He said, I just want to say to young people, just get the job done
Just get it done.
and do a good job.
Yeah.
And, just make sure that whatever you do, you're the number one go-to. And as an office manager, I'm the number one go-to. But they need anything,
they come
to
you.
me.
So you are a problem solver.
Correct.
Right. But having said that, one of the things that you've said, or some of the things that you've said in this very short period of time, is you were curious.
Yeah.
You were personable. So
Correct.
you had the right attitude. You could get the job done with the wrong attitude. You wouldn't last.
That's true. That's very true.
Because we know people that are talented.
Yeah.
They know how to do the job, but they have a rubbish attitude.
Yes, they do. They do.
And those people don't last.
They don't. And that brings me to what I do on the side, away from HR, coaching and mentoring young people. So when I go into schools, when I go into, music label industry events, I speak to a lot of young people, like university students, and I just tell them, just get the job done. Be on time.
Yes, timekeeping.
That's my
Timekeeping.
one. Oh,
But that's an attitude. The fact that people don't even know how to keep to time is an attitude. I was speaking to Sandra earlier on, and she said something about perception management, and that's like you say, you're the go-to person,
yeah.
but you've managed the perception,
Yes.
right? You're doing the job, and you're making sure that you're doing a really good job.
Correct.
But over and above doing a really good job, what I'm also hearing you say is that you need to be curious. You need to be likable. If you don't like, if they don't like you, they wouldn't hang around you.
That's very true. That's very true. And it also depends on how you present yourself. Don't present yourself like, oh, I know it all. You can know it, but still curious
Yes,
to find
be
out
willing to
more
learn.
and
Yes,
willing to
be
learn.
willing to
And the
learn.
thing is, people are actually will have time for you. That's one thing I found.
Yes.
The office manager at the time with my story that I told you with the publishing company, she had time for me.
Yeah.
Because she knows that Emily wants to know. She'll say something like, what's that? How do you want me to do it?
Yes.
Can I sit down with you?
Yes.
Can you tell me?
Yes.
Because no matter what you want to do in this life, there are people that have done it before us.
Say it again. So true.
So you need to just go to those people and say,
Yes.
you know what, I want to, can you help me too?
Yes. Yeah.
And I get goosebumps when I get messages from the young people that I've coached and trained, and they send me a message on LinkedIn. They give me recommendations on LinkedIn.
I see that.
They're like, Emily, oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I said,
I
what have
see
I
that.
done? I said,
Yeah.
because of you, I choke
I know.
sometimes
No, I
when
know.
when they say that, because it gives me so much joy knowing that I was
Able to help
part
them. Yeah.
of that journey while you were trying to look for work.
So knowing what you know now, and hindsight is a really beautiful thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Knowing what you know now, and knowing that those people were mentors of sorts,
Yeah.
right? At some point, did you now intentionally seek mentors?
Correct. Especially in HR. You start as an HR administrator, you go on to be an HR advisor, you go on to be an HR manager, HR BP, head of HR.
Yes.
I want to know the person that was HR manager. I want to know what she did or he did to get there.
I get you.
And I'm part of a WhatsApp HR group, senior HR professionals. And I just sent a message to one of them one day and said, can you be my mentor? Said, yes, of course.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. People are willing
People
to
are
help.
willing, but we're not willing to ask.
We're not. I think it's that the fear of the unknown. They're like, sometimes when you ask something from someone, you're like, oh, they're going to say no, I better not ask.
Well, they may say no, but if you don't ask, it would always be a no.
Exactly.
Right?
You'll never know, right? And I love absorbing knowledge so much.
But you're also very bold. And I know that, you're very bold. I have seen you in action several times.
Thank you.
Right, you're very bold. So you go into terrains that you don't think of yourself as a Black woman. And I know that you don't have that mentality. You just think of yourself as an individual that is adding value and can do the job.
Exactly.
Right? And that's a really good mindset that will serve many of our community women, right?
Yeah.
Having said that, when you go into these places, for example, you just said, you ask, can somebody be your mentor?
Yeah.
But were you afraid that they would say no?
They'll say no, I'll go to the next person. There's over 50 people on that platform. And, I'm not the only HR manager that HR administrator can come to.
Yeah.
They can go to somebody else. I'll go to someone else. It's very simple.
So fear is not a thing for you?
No, fear of what? They can either say yes or no.
I know it's not the end of the world. It's a full answer, right?
Exactly.
No, it's a full answer.
If you say no, then I'll find somebody else.
Yes.
I just have this thing in me because I don't BS. Do you know what I mean?
I completely
and
know
I
what you
just, just tell me yes or no.
Yes.
If it's a no, bye, next, that
Let's
kind of
keep
thing.
it moving.
Exactly.
Let's keep it moving.
And I keep telling people, when they start talking about, it's because you're Black, I don't see color. I just see Emily. She's got the requirements they're looking for.
That's right.
She can do the job.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I've got the qualification.
That's right.
I'm dedicated.
Yes.
I'm personable. I want to help. I want to support. I understand where the company is, where they want to get to.
Yeah, and you can solve that problem.
And I'm solving that problem.
Yeah.
what more do you want? I didn't get here because of my skin color. I didn't get here because I'm a woman. I
No.
got here because
You
I
put
want to
in
do
the
a good
work.
job, and I
Yes,
put
you
in
put
the
in the
work.
work. Yeah.
And young people, they need to put the work
They
in.
need to put the work in.
And because some of them can be quite, they've got this thing about, entitlement mentality. I'm like, no, I've got them in my
I
workplace.
know. I know. I've got them in my life.
I've got them in my life too.
I've got them in my life, right? And it's interesting you use the word entitled mentality, right? Because no one's going to hand anything over to you.
No.
In doing the work, there are things that will be expected of you that you may not even expect of yourself.
Correct.
But you just need to be willing to not, I believe, not even just do the work, go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Right? Do that extra thing. And like you said earlier on, be visible.
Correct.
Right? But in having that mentor, how did that help you?
It's right. Another story. When my son was quite young, you drop them off at nursery, you pick them up early.
Yes.
So I said to my employer at the time, I said,
yes.
I need to come in 8 a.m.
Yes.
so I can finish at 5 to
Yes.
pick him up at 6.
Yes.
Fine, no problem. And since then, every single job I go to, even though my contract says 9 o'clock,
Yeah.
I'm there 7:30, quarter to 8.
Yes.
One, I don't like the stress of traffic.
Yes.
2, I can get there, have my coffee, have my breakfast.
Right. The
And
quietness
3,
of the office.
I can start doing my admin work, because when it comes to 9:30,
Yeah.
that's when people are knocking on your
That's
HR
right.
door.
Yes.
And I just don't like stress. I'd rather be there and I have enough time to get the work done.
Yeah.
And it just makes me feel very satisfied with what I do and who I am.
I understand that. Yeah.
And it just makes sense.
It does, yeah.
Just get there early.
Yeah.
As the saying goes.
But not everybody's an early bird.
True.
So I resonate with you.
True.
It makes sense because at 7:30 I was at my desk with my Costa coffee, coconut latte. But by the time people are strolling in at 9:30, I've done 2.5 hours of really good work.
Yeah.
But there are also people that stay really late.
Mm-hmm.
So like you, at 4 o'clock I'm out.
I'm out because I'm tired.
Yes.
Your
brain can't function anymore.
No, because that's me. I'm very, very alert in the morning.
Yeah.
And getting to work, people say, "What are you doing here so early?" Because I want to, and it works for me.
Yeah.
And even working from home, lockdown, we're home for about 2 years.
Yes.
I don't like being at home Monday to Friday.
So was it a mentor that actually got you to negotiate an 8 to 4? Or was it just you that decided, oh?
No, I spoke to, the office manager at the time where I was working. She was my mentor, unknown to me.
Yes,
so I spoke to her. I said, Emily, of course, no problem. That's fine. I know. I understand. And then she became a parent. She's like, Emily, I get it.
There's certain things that you will never get unless you experience it.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
You can read all the books.
Yeah.
You can go on all the courses.
Yeah.
But until it becomes experiential, you just will never know.
You'll never know at all. So I'm just so used to it.
Yeah.
I'm an early bird.
Yes, you're a lark.
And I just love getting into work and just doing the job.
So
the thing is, the management see that.
They do. You're absolutely right.
They see it.
Yes, they do. They do.
And
because you're different.
Very, very different.
Yeah, you're different.
And people say I'm quiet. And one thing I've learned in the 25-year career, working with different CEOs and managers and whatnot, is use this more.
The ear.
And listen more.
Let's talk about that.
Just listen more.
Wow.
Absorb all the knowledge.
Absorb. That is another word that is another. Absorb. Read the environment. I call it people watch. Watch the people.
Yes.
Yes. Listen more.
Listen more.
Listen is actually a form of communication.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen more, because once you listen, you'll be able to understand where you're coming from.
Yes.
So you can absorb all the information and go away to dissect it or analyze it. And in the world of HR, a lot of CEOs say HR is an overhead. I don't want to be an overhead.
Yes.
I want to be a value add.
That's right.
So in my recent role, I've been there for about just over a year. I watched and listened because it's a different dynamics, right? With working with different CEOs,
Yes.
different management styles. I was like, why are they so? I get it. They're very commercial. It's all about the bottom line.
It's all about the bottom line. Yeah.
So here's Emily coming in HR. I had to change that narrative. Right. Okay. So this store is not making money.
So how do they
Why?
make more? Yes. What's the problem? How do
So
we solve
Emily's gone
it?
to the store to speak to the manager. What's happened? Why is she upset? What can we do? So the
Excuse me.
best thing I would advise anyone is to listen more, read the room properly, and then act. Because sometimes we human beings, we're very quick to
Say that again.
without actually listening
Say
to
that
what's
again.
going
Yeah.
on.
And I think to your point, I agree with you. I think we don't listen to understand. We listen to respond.
Correct.
So already we assume we know what the person is saying or attempting to say. So we already have a default response for that, and it
Yes.
doesn't work.
It doesn't work at all. And I'm so grateful for, I did a NLP
Yes.
coaching course. That's a neuro-linguistic programming. And I learned so much, even about myself.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah.
Emily, shush, listen more. Because at the end of the day, your experience is different from mine.
Yes.
The way you perceive things is different from mine.
Yes.
I can say that's green,
Yes.
but to you it's black.
Yes.
It's just the way we see things
Yes.
differently.
And perception is real.
Perception is so, so real.
Yes.
So when someone is upset at work and they come in the HR room shouting at me,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it's not me. It's what you're going through internally.
And being able to just accommodate them
Correct.
in the right way.
I just don't say anything. I just look at them.
Wow.
Because by you looking and they don't know what else to do but to calm down.
That's a skill in itself.
It's taking me a long time.
I
It's taking me a long time to learn that skill.
I know. And that's the thing. We think that because we speak, we're communicating.
Yeah.
And I always say that there are two elements of communication, which is verbal and non-verbal.
Yes.
But we ignore the non-verbal, right? Which is the body language and the listening. And of course, as people of color, for a want of an identifier, especially where we come from, we can be very dramatic. So, for example, when I'm excited, my hands go all up in the air, and all of that. Now, in itself, there's really nothing wrong with that, but there's a place and a time for that.
Yes, correct.
Right?
Yes,
there's a place
definitely.
and a time for that, right? So I'm very intrigued because I know that you're big on mentoring. You pour a lot into the youngsters.
Yes.
But is it because you realized that in your own experience or in your own career there wasn't a mentor figure for you? You look back now and you're connecting and say, that office manager was a mentor. That was a mentor. That was a mentor. But there wasn't an official in that capacity.
No, there wasn't at all. I had to, as a youngest of 5, I had to look for things to do because my older sibling just went about their business. They didn't have time for me at all. So I had to look for things to do.
Yeah.
And, I got into basketball. I got into the girls' brigades. I was doing like extracurricular activities. And even, at work, I was like, why are people not, but I don't know how to do this. Just show me how.
Yes.
Once you show me
it's
how.
The how, right?
It's the how.
It's the how.
Once you show me how, trust me, just leave it with me.
Yes.
And it'll get done.
It's the how.
And I tend to look at people, as I said earlier on, that knows more than I do.
Yes.
Because you know more than I do in some areas.
Of course.
And vice versa.
That's right.
And we come on the phone, you tell me stuff, I tell you stuff, and we use that.
Yes.
And when I was at school, I didn't have a mentor. And I had to figure things out myself. I didn't know how to put a CV.
So much harder.
Right? I didn't know how to put a CV together.
Yes.
When I left uni.
What is a CV even?
Financial advice. What's that?
Yes.
So it was until I started doing my HR course and I was speaking to lecturers and it's like, right, do it this way, do it that way. So when I was ready to actually go for like full HR manager role, I spoke to one of my lecturers and I did my CV because I want to get it right. So I sent it to him and said, Emily, come on, get on the phone.
Wow.
Let me show you how. And that's how it started.
You found favor,
Oh, yes.
a lot
Yes.
of favor,
Yes.
right? So even though they were not called mentors, they were
Mm-hmm.
mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And they were mentors that I believe really, one, liked you a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, if you're going to mentor somebody, you have to like the
Oh,
person.
yes,
You
definitely.
have to like the person, otherwise, you're just
It's
pointing
not
at it's
happening.
not
It's not
happening.
happening at
And even when
all.
it does happen, you're pointing in a basket, right?
Yes, yes.
So I believe that even though you didn't know that they were mentors, right? They were mentors and they were willing to
To
help
help.
you.
Yeah.
So you found favor,
Correct.
right? But you said something. Knowing the what is one thing, knowing the
How
how
is
is
yeah.
where the mentors can actually help you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can know the what, if you don't know the how, you're still
You're stuck. You're so
oh.
stuck. Because in the world, I mean, I'm talking HR because that's
Yes,
that's what I've
that's your
done.
area of
And there's
expertise.
so many courses and training, and
Yes.
I was like, I don't want to do that. It's too much.
Yes.
Let me just call an HR director. Oh, by the
Yes.
way, how did you
And they'll
say,
tell
right, do
you.
it this way, do it
Wow.
that way. You need to be more strategic. I'm like, what does that mean? What do you mean I have to
That
be
was
more strategic?
strategy.
I don't
Yes.
know what you mean by that.
Wow.
This was like earlier on in my
Yeah.
HR career.
Yeah.
And now I was like, all right, okay. Now I know what that
I
is.
know.
Because without me having that conversation with them, it wouldn't have happened.
Completely.
It wouldn't have happened. I'll be so
Completely.
lost.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful. I'm going to talk about my faith because my
I was
faith,
going to touch on that one, but
you know,
listen, let's
I,
segue
I
into
had
it.
to.
Let's
My
segue into
faith,
it.
my faith, my faith, my faith. If not for
So
my faith,
let's be clear. Faith in who or faith in what? Let's be clear.
faith in the Creator that made me, faith in God,
Yeah.
faith in knowing that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? And I think that's where that boldness comes from.
Mm,
I mean, he's giving me the tools.
yes.
He's giving me,
The brain.
yeah.
Yeah.
So use it.
Mm.
And I'm going to tell a very quick story.
Go on.
I love telling stories. So I used to go to a church in Leytonstone, and they had to leave. Now they're in Gillingham,
Okay.
and I don't even know how I dreamt about the church. So I had a dream, and there was a queue of people waiting to see the pastor.
Right.
So I stood there waiting. And someone just said to me, Emily, why are you here?
Mm.
What do you want to do? I said, I like supporting people. I want to help. Yeah. Without even thinking about the question,
Yes.
it just came
Yeah.
out. And in that dream, there was a trolley somewhere. And I picked up that trolley, went to the store. I don't know whether it was Sainsbury's or Tesco, but I know I went to a
The
store
supermarket. Yeah.
and I picked up like snacks and drinks, and because people have been queuing for such a long
So you
time,
wanted
so
to-
they're tired,
yeah,
they're
wow.
thirsty, and I gave everyone things,
Yeah.
and then I woke up. I said, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
That's my calling. That's my
Yes,
passion.
Yes.
That's my purpose.
Yes.
To help other people, because I know I've been helped
Mm.
throughout my life, throughout my career. Why would I want to take that away with me and not just pour everything out to the next generation?
I love that.
And since then, I was like, yes, that's my purpose. Young people,
Yes.
come on, we need to do this.
Yeah.
I know you're struggling.
Yes.
Let me tell you how.
Let me tell you how.
So you know what
That's
to do.
so powerful because, and sometimes they know the what, but they don't know the how. And it's
Yeah.
interesting. The reason I'm actually harping on this is because in the last few days I've been meditating on the how,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like intrigued on how we don't know the how.
Yes.
But we think because we know the what, we just dart off and go off and
Yeah.
do stuff, and we
Yeah.
just get it wrong.
Yeah.
And to your point, if somebody is 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of you, they already know the how.
Yeah.
So just ask them.
Just ask the question.
Wow.
Just pick up the phone, send an email. I'm not scared to send an email to the
Whoever.
CEO of Disney.
Wow.
Why should I be?
They don't have two heads, right? They don't have
I mean,
two
my
heads.
administrator, I don't want to go and speak to the CEO. Or he's a human being.
That's right.
Just go upstairs, speak to him,
Yeah.
tell him what you want,
Yeah.
why,
Yes.
and what you need him to do. He will listen to you.
But you have to go crafting it, what you want, why you want it, and what you need him to do.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
you just
very good. I like
just
that.
need to, because
Yes.
at the
So
end
you
of the
can't just
day,
go in there and just be rambling. So how's your wife? What are you doing? They don't have time for you.
no,
Right.
no, just go in there with a
What you
purpose.
want, why you want it, and what you need
Need
him to
to
do.
correct.
It's the three W's.
Yeah. So it is.
It's the three W's.
So it
You got a
is.
framework right there. You've
It's.
got a framework
I mean,
right
it's so
there.
so true. I mean, I use my son as an
Mm.
example. I'm like, what do you want to do? I want to play football. Why do you want to play football? Oh, I just want to play. I want to be on the field.
Yeah.
Earning all this money.
Yeah.
What if you don't make it? What then? Oh, I don't know. He didn't. He didn't make. He didn't make because he had injury,
Yes.
2 surgeries on his knee,
Yeah.
and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, there's so much you can do around football, music.
Yes. Yes.
The ecosystem is
Yes,
massive. I
yes.
worked in the music industry for about
Yes.
2 years. And there's an events manager, events assistant, social media manager,
Yes.
social media
Yeah.
assistant.
Yeah.
Yes, we've got the artists. You can be, A&R. You can help the artists out when they're out and
But
about.
he wasn't thinking of it because so oftentimes we're very tunnel vision and this is what we want. And in itself, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But if that particular thing doesn't come, you now have to think outside of the box. So I always think of it as a tree that has different branches.
Yeah.
And the branches also have branches.
Correct.
Right? As long as we're all connected to this trunk,
Yeah.
we're all going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. I totally agree with that. And I'm very, I'm going to come back to the curiosity. I mean, when I finished uni, I wanted to be a PR assistant. I did a PR internship for about 3 months. I didn't
What are
like
you doing
it.
food and marketing? What are you doing for PR?
What, PR marketing?
Well, fair enough.
Yeah. And I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not for me. So I was kind of exploring all that
Yes.
interest
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And I know that if HR doesn't work out, there's coaching, there's mentoring. I can go
Yes.
into school.
Yes.
I'm a enterprise advisor for
Yeah.
one of my local secondary schools.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
can go into schools, and I stood there one day when I was, presenting to the students. I'm like, I could have been a teacher actually,
Different career pathways
because I was so comfortable
in that
speaking.
space. Yes.
So comfortable.
Yes.
And it just gives me so much satisfaction.
Fulfillment.
Yes, I
like
just feel
that.
so fulfilled
Yes.
that, you know what, I have been told the how.
Mm.
I should do the same thing for the next generation
Love that.
on how to. That way they have the information to make up, the
And they don't
mind
have
on
to,
what.
and they don't have to learn from their own experience.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think the easiest way to grow faster is to learn from somebody else's experience.
Correct.
I really believe that.
Correct.
And unfortunately, in my career, I didn't have a mentor, a coach, didn't have people that looked like me. But I did the job. I was diligent. I showed up
Yes.
on time,
Yes.
every day, and was visible.
Yes.
Right. And the reason mentorship is important to me is because I see many of our people in our community floundering in the dark. They don't know what they don't know.
Correct.
And unfortunately, they're not also willing to
Ask.
right? So what should take you a year to sort out will take you 5. Just because, 1, you're not asking, 2, you don't have a mentor.
That's so correct. As soon as I knew that I had this coaching thing in me,
Yes.
I was online
Yeah.
coaching. What's a coach?
Yes.
Different type of coaches.
Yes.
I spoke to, Michelle.
Yes.
Michelle.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, I did this NLP." So what is that,
Yes.
Michelle?
NLP.
So she explained to me,
Yeah.
and I found out about it. It's going to be £3,000. Like, oh my god, I can't afford it.
Yes.
And I called up the school, and they said, "Oh, we can do like
Pay a pay schedule.
yes."
Yes.
I was like, "Okay, I can afford that."
Yeah.
And I done it because again, I was curious. I wanted
Yes.
to learn more.
And it's personal development, isn't it?
Exactly,
Yes.
because I do not rely on every single company I've worked with. I do not rely on them to say, Emily, here's your learning and development, £2,000 to go and find something to do for your career development.
Yes.
You need to be ready and willing to have that career development within you.
How many times have I high-fived you on this sofa today?
You need to. You need to.
So true.
You need to.
So true. And what you're saying, I can't even echo it enough
Yeah.
because or voice it enough because it's No
Yeah.
one's coming to get you.
Nobody's coming to save you.
No one is coming to get you. So you better learn to paddle your canoe,
So much.
right? And
You
paddle
had
it
to.
well.
Yeah.
But even if you're paddling it in the wrong direction, paddle.
Yeah.
If you're going in the wrong direction, at some point you would know that you're in the wrong direction.
Exactly.
Right? But no one's coming to help you.
Nobody's coming to save you.
Wow.
The only time I got, when I started the office manager and I went on, they paid for the £2,000, whatever it was. They got that back from the government anyway, because it was like the European fund.
Yes.
So they paid and the government paid it back.
Yeah.
So from then on, I was like, okay, I want to be a coach. I want to, really help these young people. What's the next step?
Yeah.
Right. Before I actually did the NLP, guess what I did? I found a coach. I found a coach, and I met him when he came to one of our seminars.
Yes.
Spoke to him. The following day, he sent me a message on LinkedIn. I called him again because I was curious. I said, how did you get here?
Yes.
What are you teaching people?
Yes.
So he told me. I told him what I wanted to do. He said, right, okay, this is what I can do for you.
Wow.
And it's like, right, okay, you can get your company to pay for it, and, part of your learning and development budget.
Yes.
I was like, no, they're not paying for anything. I'm going to do it myself. Because once companies pay,
they tie you down.
It's like, you got to stay for 2 years. After that.
Yeah, they tie you down.
When I'm ready to go, I want to go.
Yes.
So I paid for everything myself.
That is being the CEO of your career.
I like that. I like that.
That is being the
So
CEO
I
of your
paid for it
career.
myself. I did the coaching thing. I was like, okay, this is not enough. I wanted more, because I was
You're
moving.
just a sponge.
I just wanted more. I want to move from being an HR manager. I want to be an HR director.
Yeah.
And then I found an HR mentor. And then she was my mentor for about 6 months. Until today, I still speak to her.
Wow.
Because I just
Yes.
want to absorb all that knowledge.
And it's interesting you're saying this, because I was sharing earlier on that people that have gone ahead of you,
yeah,
and 99% of them are actually willing to help
they
you.
are willing to help.
Right? And that's what I have found. They're willing to help.
Wow.
But we are the ones that are sabotaging our careers by not showing up, asking the right questions, asking to be mentored.
Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of understand why some mentors may say no, because many, now going back to, because, this is our community, so this is really for our community, is that we can waste people's time.
Correct.
And there is nothing as painful as somebody that has succeeded, whether it's by one level, a couple of levels, a few levels, and they pour into you, and you do nothing about it.
Yeah.
You devalue their time. They've given you access to themselves. And so people are like, well, you know what? Go learn it by yourself.
What's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, an example I can give, you saying that, there was a couple of young people, through a friend, and they called me and said, I said, right, okay, this is what you need to do.
Yes.
Just do this.
Yes.
And do this for your CV, send it back to me, and I'll have a read, and I'll give you directions on where to look for work. So they've done that. They've come back, and I said, right, okay, try this website, try that website. And it's gone silent. And my friend that introduced me to this kid said, oh, Emily, they still haven't got a job. I said, well,
I cannot force you to drink the water.
I cannot take you to Tesco's to apply for a job, right? I cannot take you to Sainsbury's.
I can't drink Panadol for your headache.
No.
I said,
you need to come. You need to go to your
Yes.
mentor.
Yes.
You need to put something in the diary.
Yes.
They are busy.
They are. They
Monday
are.
to Sunday, they've got kids.
They've got life.
They've got a life.
They've got life.
Right?
Yes.
And I had to be very intentional
Yes.
about, right, okay, I need to just ask Jane, are you available on Friday at 1 p.m.?
Yes.
Emily, I'm not available, but can we do Monday at 1 p.m.?
Yes.
And I write it down.
Yes.
And
put
I
it in.
always make the effort.
And you show
5
up.
to 1.
You're there.
I'm there on Teams, on Google,
Yes.
whatever it
Yes,
is,
you're there.
calling,
Yes.
ready to
You're
speak.
there.
And when you actually go to your mentor, just make sure you have your questions ready.
Yeah.
You have to have your questions ready.
You have to be prepared.
Exactly.
Yes.
You cannot come on the phone. Hi, how are you? Fine.
They don't have time.
You need to bring that thing that you want to learn. Bring that thing that you want to ask them.
I'm so glad that you're saying that, because this is where I have been. I've been guilty. So because I'm a conversationalist, and I can have a really good conversation
Yes.
like for hours, right?
Yep.
So I had to learn to really put a timer on it, right? Because I also realized that even though they go, ha, they were actually taking me for granted. So I thought, I'm not doing that anymore.
No.
Right? So now I have put a timer on it.
Correct.
And also, this is what I say. If you want me to mentor you,
Yeah.
right, you need to pay for it. And it's not because I can't afford to mentor you for, for free.
Yeah.
It's because if you don't have skin in the game, you wouldn't take it seriously.
Correct.
Right? I often say that if you pay nothing, you get nothing.
Correct.
If you pay little, you get little. So come pay a lot.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And all this, like you said, development, NLP, HL, CIPD.
I paid for it.
All of this.
I paid for it.
Do they think that it's just, you just
free.
appeared?
No. You got to be prepared.
Yeah.
To kind of put the effort in and put the resources in as well.
Yes.
To ensure that, yes, this is what you want to do. This is how you're going to do it. This is when you're going to do it.
Yes.
This is, the what.
Yes.
You just need to be prepared. Because if you're not, what's the point? You want to be a doctor. You can't just be a doctor overnight. It takes like at least 7 years.
It's interesting you say that. The person that goes to medical school and the person that's been a surgeon, you're not the same.
They're not the same.
You both have DR, but you're not the same.
You're not the same. So you need to
same.
be very, very ready to put
you.
every effort into you, speaking to your mentor.
Yes.
I don't like long meetings. 30 minutes.
Done. Yeah. To the point, succinct to the point.
I don't even, they know me at work.
Yeah.
I'll sit there with the line managers. Is there an agenda? Okay, what do you want to talk about? I'm busy.
I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I get what you're
because
saying.
there's no point sitting there.
Yeah. I get bored very easily of all the different.
So do I.
Yes,
I just want to be just straight to the point.
Yeah.
So when I do speak to my mentors,
you're to the point.
Half an hour, within the first 15 minutes is me talking.
Yes. And
then the last 15 minutes, they giving me advice on what to do and how to do it.
Listening.
So you need to listen more and speak less.
Hi, Emily. I know you. And people often say that they don't talk a lot. I'm like, that's not true, because when you're with Yanmo, you talk, not you, but
Yeah.
I could speak with you all day, and you know that to be true, right? But we're out of time. However, 2 things I want to ask you for us to wrap this up. If someone is struggling, based on what you've said, what is the quickest path for them to find a solution in their career?
Why are you struggling? What do you want to do? What's your purpose? Why are you here? Why do you want me to help you?
Why do you want me to help you?
Because once I have that, then I'll be able to give you some hints and direction.
I get you.
So what's your purpose? Why are you here?
I love that.
What do you want to do with you?
What do you want to do with you? Because if you don't want to do anything with you, nobody wants to do anything.
Nobody wants to help you.
Wow, I like that.
What I mean?
Yes.
What's your purpose? Because there's no point you wanting to, I want to be a footballer. Why do you want to be a footballer?
Yeah.
I want to be I wanted to be a basketballer. I wanted to go to the NBA and play. But I had a knee injury.
Yes.
And I couldn't. So what next?
So
you need to find your purpose. Once you find that.
And asking those questions will help.
Yeah.
Yes.
Find your purpose, and everything else, in my personal opinion and experience, everything else will fall into place.
If you had to say, so this is the last one as we wrap up. Looking at younger Emily, cute, curious, sponge, personable, wants to learn everything, I'm in a grievance meeting. What does grievance mean? Even though she's writing all these notes, right? Disciplinary. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What would you say to that young, curious Emily? Going back, what would you say? Your Emily of today, what would you say to that Emily? What words of wisdom or nuggets of advice would you give to that Emily?
Keep learning.
Ooh.
Keep learning. Keep asking questions.
Keep learning. Keep asking questions.
And just be the best you can be. Be the best version of you. But keep learning. Definitely.
Wow.
because then all I just want to just take, 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 take. I didn't really care then,
Yeah.
you know. But now I'm like, you know what? Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is
Once
power.
you know more, the saying, once you know better, you
You
do
do
better.
better.
There,
Yes.
as Maya Angelou says.
Wow.
Definitely. Yeah, just keep learning.
On that note,